Welcome to another episode. On today's show, we've actually got a listener question from Janice, who was recently laid off at the age of 53 and is considering a career change into real estate. But to make it work, she may need to tap into her retirement savings. Is this a smart move, or could it put her at long-term financial risk? We're going to break down the pros and the cons and the smarter ways to fund a midlife career pivot without jeopardizing your retirement. Well, Frank, today should be an interesting show. Starting over at 53, I would imagine that's pretty scary for anybody to go
I would
through.
imagine. Yep.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Have you had clients go through this before?
I have. It's a struggle for them, for sure. I know we're going to go over Janice's question here real quick, but I have had it.
Yeah.
Had that situation arise in my office.
I'm sure you'll be able to lean on some of those experiences as we help Janice out a little bit here. So we teased her question, but here is the actual question from Janice. She says, I was laid off from my corporate job this year, and to be honest, I'm not very excited about trying to find something else in the corporate world at the age of 53. I've always been interested in real estate and am considering getting my license and becoming a realtor. However, this would probably require taking some early withdrawals from my IRA to make ends meet before I get my new career up and running. Is this a dumb idea? What's your initial reaction?
I don't think I would ever tell anybody it's a dumb idea, but I think it is a big risk. One thing, I do not believe you want to fund a startup career with your IRA. Pay the taxes on that up front. You're paying the 10% penalty, pre-59 and a half. And nothing against the real estate market, but I have a lot of friends and clients that are realtors, and I got to tell you, the struggle is real.
Yeah.
The struggle is real about every 5 years with something, whether it's, prices inflating, people can't afford houses right now. We got high interest rates. And the successful realtors that I know, and I know we're kind of isolating this career to realtor based on Janice's question, but this could be true with any career that you're trying to start, right?
Or especially since she's not looking for another W-2 job, but starting a business.
Right.
A whole other ballgame.
Any successful business, and especially in real estate, these people ground for 5, 10, 15, 20 years to get to that level where they're comfortable, Somebody at 53 probably doesn't have 15 or 20 years to grind to get to that level of comfortability. And I know people get tired of corporate. I get it. I see it. My clients are in the same position. But if you could grind that out for another 5 or 10 years, I think you're in a much better spot than trying to, drain down your retirement assets, hoping that the business takes off. If it doesn't, now you don't have the business and you don't have the retirement assets, and you're really in a tough position in your 60s.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's not to discourage someone to take the risk of going and bettering yourself and going after something you love. Yeah. But the risk is really high here. It's more the consequences of those risks are pretty intense.
Yeah, you don't ever want to talk anybody out of their dreams, but I think, dreams without logic could be a dangerous decision. So, really think that through.
Yeah, and I guess part of this comes down to how much are we talking? Like that could probably move the needle on the conversation a little bit, right?
Sure.
Like if she's, all right, I'm a realtor, maybe I don't need, it's not like I'm starting a business where I need a lot of materials.
Sure.
I'm not having to go buy a front loader to, do something in, construction or something like that.
Right.
So I just need to have a little bit to, maybe if you put a cap on it, like what if I'm going to give myself 6 months to get going and at least give this thing a shot.
I suppose, and then that way you could at least see if your dreams, come to fruition.
Right.
Because you probably don't want to also be in your 60s going, I wish I would have.
Yeah.
What if I would have?
Right.
But just be cautious.
Yeah. Maybe putting a cap on yourself so there's not this forever drain. Give yourself a deadline of a realistic,
right.
I'm going to take this amount of withdrawals for this much time, and if I'm not successful by this time, I need to go to plan B.
Coming from somebody that started their own business and knows hundreds of people that have started or attempted to start their own business, I'm just a little more cautious, because I know what it takes, and I just don't want to see somebody take that risk, try to fulfill their dream, and then fail. I hate to see people not succeed. And as tough as corporate is, maybe maybe that's a safer option. But you don't want to take away somebody's dream.
Yeah, I think those are good warnings for you, Janice, and just some things to keep thinking in mind. And somebody in a similar situation, what they might want to think about. Let me keep playing the devil's advocate, though, and keep pushing for Janice's dream here. What if is there a way that she could maybe go after this dream and not drain the account? Alternatives for funding, like would a loan maybe to help float her, or are we just digging a deeper hole and grave at that point?
Well, I don't know if you're digging a deeper grave because you either fund it with your IRA or you take out a loan, and then unfortunately something doesn't go the way that you want it to. You have to pay off the loan. That could be
and you
painful.
might be dipping right back into your IRA to do that.
So I mean, is it 6 one way, half a dozen the other? You know, you use your IRA up front, or you take a loan up front. Something doesn't go your way, and then you use the IRA to pay down the loan.
Yeah.
And maybe if you're using the IRA to pay down the loan, maybe that actually is a better strategy if you think this through, because instead of taking out $50,000 from the IRA, paying taxes on the lump sum of $50,000 plus a 10% penalty on the $50,000, maybe you can make some smaller payments.
A lot of it could come down to that interest rate, maybe.
Sure. Yep. Exactly.
But it's still the same amount of risk is kind of still there.
The risk is, there's still some inherent risk.
Yeah. So, nice to be able to at least push off the pulling of the savings out of the IRA. But maybe still some complications there. So try to balance that pursuit of that new career, maybe with, kind of this new passion. I don't know. Maybe somebody in Janice's situation could perhaps not start her own real estate company, but if that's a route that she wants to go in, maybe look for a job with a established real estate
company. She could
be
an associate realtor.
And then you get to know the business, make contacts, and maybe down the line you can start your own thing for your final few years.
That's a good path. Absolutely. That's a much safer alternative as far as choosing that career path.
Yeah.
And then once you gain that experience, you gain some clients, then take that next step.
Still gets you out of the corporate world, gives you probably more independence, even though you might still be working underneath somebody else. And you've got somebody to coach you and help you avoid all of those years of learning from your mistakes.
Coaching's important. Yeah, very important. Yep.
A couple of solutions there for you, Janice. Hope you can consider that. Hope others can as well. If you're going through something like this, I think it's really a good idea to come in, meet with somebody like Frank Oliver and the team at Oliver Asset Management, because not only can they talk to you about some of these career decisions, but also let's take a deep look at the portfolio. How much is in that IRA? What are we really looking at in terms of
do a stress test. Yeah, exactly.
Comfort level. Yeah. Maybe you find out that you're in pretty good shape, Janice, and that risk is actually not that great.
Depending on the level of assets that you saved, then
that could change the story.
So maybe we need to know the numbers to make a more accurate decision.
Yeah. So it's a great question, and come in, meet with Frank, have a more in-depth conversation, and get some decent direction on where those next steps should be.
I didn't mean to be a Debbie Downer on Janice.
Well, but I think that's
trying to be safe.
I'm trying to be Janice, right? I'm like pushing for my dream a little bit here, but I think we need that sometimes, right?
Sometimes,
because sometimes it's the choice we don't make that helps saving us in the end,
right?
Rather than when we do. As much as we want to take those risks and be aggressive, and I'm a champion of those things,
right?
But sometimes we need people to tell us to pump the brakes a little bit,
right?
So you did that for us a little bit here. Come in, meet with Frank, have an in-depth conversation, a serious conversation about your financial life. If you're going through something like this, you can have a consultation with Frank and the team. Just check for the link in the description of today's show, and you can book right from your smartphone or computer and have that conversation with Frank at your convenience. Thanks, Frank. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Walter.
All right, we'll see everybody soon on the Time Blueprint. Investment advisory services offered through Creative One Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Oliver Asset Management and Creative One Wealth are unaffiliated entities. Licensed insurance professional. This information is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as advice or a recommendation for your specific circumstances. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Insurance product guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. We are not affiliated with any government agency and do not provide tax or legal advice.